Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the Social.in podcast. I'm your host Pradeep, and on this episode of the Social Media Weekly, we're talking about Twitter circles expanding their circles, we're talking about Apple and alternative app stores, and we're talking about the Indian government having no idea how biometric ID sharing works. Let's get started. So for our first story, we're talking about Twitter circles expanding their reach, or should I say circles. Anyway, Twitter circles is basically a rip-off of Instagram close friends feature. It allows you to send a tweet not only to everyone, but to a select list of 150 close friends called a Twitter circle. Now what's interesting here is that people who receive this tweet obviously cannot retweet it, but they can download or screenshot it. For our next story, we're talking about Apple and the Cydia App Store. Now here's the thing, you probably didn't know that the Cydia App Store existed before the Apple official App Store. It is an alternative app store allowing you to install third-party apps and other payment systems on your jailbroken iPhone. Jay Freeman, an appropriate name here, who is the inventor of the Cydia App Store, has now filed a suit for antitrust against Apple because obviously they have monopolistic practices when it comes to their iPhones. It's interesting to note that the Cydia App Store has shut down in 2018, but it looks like the fight still lives on. For our next story, we're talking about the Indian government having no idea how biometric ID sharing works. Now here's the thing, in India we have 1.3 billion people who have an Aadhaar card, which is basically a biometric database. The Indian government, in the form of the UIDAI, has issued a warning saying that you should not share a photocopy of your Aadhaar card with other third-party private entities. This has obviously prompted a huge amount of backlash on social media. Why? Well, because we've been sharing this data for quite a while now with various hotels and travel agencies. The Indian government has now backtracked and has soft-played this warning. For our next story, we're talking about Instagram launching 1-minute music tracks exclusively for Reels and Stories. Now this is launching exclusively in India and it's for Instagram Reels and Stories because it's quite difficult to find exactly cut 1-minute music tracks. Instagram is partnering with various creators including Shan, GV Prakash and Anirudh, and apparently these 1-minute tracks will be accompanied by a 1-minute music video. For our final story, we're talking about WhatsApp and the iPad app. Now here's the thing, right now you can currently download WhatsApp on your iPad or Android tablet and it will not be an optimized experience. Also, it will sign you out of your main device. As part of Multi-Device 2.0, WhatsApp is apparently coming over to the iPad and this time it's going to be an optimized version. Apparently, WA Beta Info has reported that the iPad app is finally in the works for real this time, and once you download it, you'll be able to sign into your iPad app as well as your iPhone with the same number. That's about it for this week's episode, guys. If you enjoyed it, please go over to your favorite podcast application, subscribe to the Social.in podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and we will see you guys in the next episode.